Welcome to Dice Breakers. Today we're going to be looking at Mysterium. Mysterium is a cooperative game in which one player will play as the ghost of a recent murder victim, and the rest of the players will play as a crack team of psychic investigators. Will the ghost be able to pierce the mysterious veil of the unknown and tell its story? Will the psychics be able to use that story to solve the ghost mystery and avenge its death? Let's learn Mysterium. The game takes place over two phases, the seance phase and the voting phase. During the seance phase, the psychics race against the clock to figure out the list of possible suspects who might have killed the ghost. It's a lot like Clue. Each psychic wants to find a murderer, a location, and a murder weapon. During the voting phase, the psychics try and select which combination of murderer, location, and weapon is correct. If they're right, the ghost can rest in peace and everyone wins. If they're wrong, it's time for the psychics to put on another pot of coffee and play again. We're not going to go into the full setup instructions. Check the rulebook for those. Here's an example setup of Mysterium. There are three main areas on the center of the board. One area contains character cards. One area contains location cards. One area contains object cards. Depending on player count and desired difficulty, there will be different numbers of cards at each tier. For this example, we've set up a game with 5 psychics at easy difficulty. So we've set out 6 character cards, 6 location cards, and 6 object cards. At the top of these sets of cards is an epilog board that will be used to track the psychic's clairvoyance. There's a large screen for the ghost to hide behind. Behind the screen are rows of cards. During setup, each psychic was randomly assigned a character card, a location card, and an object card. For example, the debonair crystal gazer Conrad McDowell was assigned the French chef, the swimming pool, and the vial of poison. It will be the ghost's job to help Conrad McDowell find those 3 cards during the seance. The ghost also has at their disposal 3 crow tokens, a stack of culprit tokens, a deck of vision cards, as well as some cardboard indicators, one for each psychic. Also on the table is a clock board that will indicate how much time the players have left during the seance, and a sand timer that will put a time limit on each round of the seance. Finally, each psychic gets a sleeve, a set of clairvoyancy tokens, and an intuition token that marks their progress in the game. Let's go over how the seance phase works. During the seance, the psychics have 7 rounds to figure out who each of their characters, locations, and objects are. When a round ends, the clock will move forward 1 hour. If it strikes 8 o'clock, everyone, the psychics and the ghost, all lose. The cardinal rule of the seance is that the ghost may not talk or communicate. The ghost player should be familiar with the rules of the game, so they have no need to break the immersion. During each round, the ghost will be handing out visions to psychics. Behind their screen, the ghost has a deck of vision cards. The ghost will always have 7 of these cards in hand, so as they hand them out, they can draw new ones. If the ghost ever wants to, they can add a crow token to their screen to discard any number of vision cards and draw back up to 7. Every psychic will receive 1 vision per round. The ghost will hand them any number of vision cards. The idea for the ghost is to guide the psychic towards picking the next character, location, or object card that they need. This has to happen in order: character, then location, then object. So, if the psychic still needs their character card, the vision that the ghost sends should be evocative of that character. So, if Conrad McDowell still needs to pick the French chef, the ghost might provide Conrad with a card that has a picture of a fried egg. They could also add to that vision a picture of the Eiffel Tower. There are no rules about what visions to send or how to interpret them. It's up to the players to use their intuition. The ghost will go on handing out visions to each psychic. As the visions are being handed out, the psychics are free to talk amongst themselves about what the visions mean. Once the last psychic receives their vision card, the sand timer is flipped. The psychics now have to do two things before the timer runs out. First, each psychic needs to place their player token on the card they think the ghost is guiding them towards. Second, each psychic is free to wager on the correctness of their fellow psychics by placing clairvoyancy tokens near the other player's player tokens. Clairvoyancy tokens either have an X or a check mark. Playing an X on a player token indicates that you think their guess is wrong, and playing a check mark on it indicates that you think their guess is right. Only one clairvoyancy token can be played on a given player token at a time, and you can't bet on yourself. When the time runs out, the ghost indicates without using words, for instance by using a thumbs up or a thumbs down, whether or not each psychic correctly guessed their next card. If the player was correct, they receive the character, location, or object card they just guessed and place it in their sleeve. They may discard all vision cards in front of them. Their token advances to the next set of cards, or if they just correctly guessed their object, their token advances to the epilog board, and they gain 1 point on the clairvoyance track for each hour remaining in the seance. That player no longer participates in the seance phase, except to add to the conversation. If a player is incorrect, they do not advance to the next set of cards. And they keep any vision cards they have in front of them from previous rounds. Remember to reward players for their clairvoyancy tokens, as the ghost indicates which players are correct and incorrect. Each correctly placed clairvoyancy token earns the psychic who placed it 1 point on the clairvoyance track. Discard clairvoyancy tokens as they're resolved and place them at the base of the clock. Once each psychic's guess has been validated by the ghost, the round is over. If all of the players have advanced to the epilog board, they've passed the seance phase and the next phase begins. Otherwise, advance the clock and play another round of the seance, unless the clock strikes 8 after being advanced, in which case the players lose immediately. Note that when the clock strikes 4, all players receive their discarded clairvoyance tokens back. So, let's suppose that the ghost has guided your team of psychics to the end of the seance. Congratulations, but the mystery isn't solved yet. Over the course of the game, each psychic should have accumulated 1 character card, 1 location card, and 1 object card in their sleeve. You should clear the table, except for anything behind the ghost screen, and lay all of these groups of cards on the table, 1 for each psychic. Indicate which is which using these numbered tokens. The ghost then picks a group of cards from the table. These cards now represent the actual character, location, and object involved in the ghost's murder. The ghost makes this official by placing the corresponding numbered culprit token face down on the epilog board. The ghost then picks 3 vision cards from their hand to form 1 final vision. One of these cards should represent the character that killed the ghost. One of these cards should represent the location where the murder occurred, and one of these cards should represent the object that was used as a murder weapon. The ghost then shuffles the 3 vision cards. Meanwhile, the players should retrieve their clairvoyance tokens. They're numbered 1 through 6 on the back, so they double as voting tokens for the numbered groups of cards on the table. A psychic's place on the clairvoyancy track determines how effective they are during the final round. There are 3 tiers indicated on the clairvoyance track. Those 3 final vision cards that the ghost shuffled together, the tier you're on indicates how many of the ghost's final cards a psychic gets to see before voting. So, a psychic at the first tier has to vote after seeing the first card. A psychic at the second tier has to vote after seeing the second card. And a psychic at the third tier has to vote after seeing the third card. Vote by placing a numbered token corresponding to your vote in your sleeve and then handing it to the ghost. Now here's the catch during the voting phase. Remember how during the seance all the psychics were allowed to work together to interpret the ghost visions? Well, during the voting phase the psychics are not allowed to communicate. Everyone has to use their own wits and intuition to cast their vote. Once the ghost has collected all of the votes, they'll reveal the results to the table. Whichever numbered group of cards the majority of the players picked is the psychic's guess as to which culprit the ghost picked. If a tie occurs, in this case 1 and 2 both receive 2 votes, it's broken in the favor of whichever psychic is the most clairvoyant, in this case the debonair Conrad McDowell. Now that the players have selected their culprit, the ghost can reveal the culprit token. If the numbers match, then the psychics have solved the mystery, the ghost's death is avenged, and everyone wins. That's Mysterium. It's a Dicebreaker's favorite because it's a great mix of logic and intuition, and because playing as the ghost and playing as a psychic are fun in completely different ways. For now, we'll leave you with a final vision.